He claims the Tory leadership race has added some rust to his swing.
Golf less often, improve my game.
But 9 handicapper Rick Orman, the former Getty-era energy minister, is striking the ball just fine this morning while sharing insights on golf and politics.
You know, there's all sorts of lessons that you can try and teach your kids by telling them what to do, you know. But the one thing about golf is they can come out here and can experience most of their emotions in a round of golf.
The man who finished third in the 1992 PC leadership race is at it again, after a long break with politics. He's 63 now, calling his campaign an indictment of the old boys club running the province.
It's actually an indictment of the status quo. And I've said this at the forums, and I've said this in many different places. If you are happy as a member of our party with the status quo, there's 5 other candidates that you can support. If you're not happy with the status quo, come on, help me make change. Help us bring back integrity, honorability to the office, and make sure that, that we hold this government accountable for the actions they've taken over the last 7 or 8 years.
The first thing I'd like to do is thank you all.
His entry into the leadership race in May surprised many. He's been a political commentator on radio for 15 years, but otherwise, he's been focused on the energy business. He has 3 cabinet posts under his belt: labor, career development, and energy. Orman says there are a lot of lessons learned on the course that can be carried into business and politics.
They control anger, control elation, control pressure, nerves. I mean, there's all sorts of things you can learn playing golf. That's what's so great about the sport. And you can have them all in one round of golf, too. And you know, the one thing about golf, I've never really met anybody on a golf course who I haven't enjoyed their company. And you know, you can't say that about everything. You know, hook up with 3 people you've never met, and you know, by the end of it, you've learned something about them, learned something about yourself, and you know, just it's why it's such a great sport.
So the driving range is an ideal location to get to learn a bit more about Orman, what he's watching, listening, and reading.
The last book I read was the biography of George Bush. And I like political books. I've read Mulrooney's autobiography, and I've read Reagan's biography. I just like good old conservative biographies and politics. It's, you know, what you find out about politics, it's really the same everywhere. It's just a different scale, you know. There's always things that you recognize in decision making and how you make decisions, and that's what I get interested in when I read about these former leaders of their country, is how do they draw consensus, how do they make decisions, what information do they have, and at what point do they have to pull the trigger and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And that to me is really an important aspect of leadership.
Are you laughing?
Yeah, I know. I was making, no.
Because this is no laughing matter, Father.
I haven't been to a movie theater in probably since my kids moved out of the house. I love Robert De Niro's movies, I'm not a big, I don't like violence in movies, even though I say I like De Niro. I don't like a lot of violence. Like, I won't watch movies that have a lot of violence, but I do like, you know, I do like drama. I do like, you know, comedy. I like Meet the Fockers, and actually that was the last movie I saw.
Come here and give me a Focker sandwich.
I listen to all 60s and 70s. Like, I've got the Beatles, I've got the Rolling Stones. I like blues, John Lee Hooker. You know, so I come from the 60s. I went through university in the late 60s and graduated in the early 70s. And that type of music is still part of me, as was that period of time. I mean, there were some major changes that we were going through culturally. And because of the impact it left, you know, you stay connected with things like the music. I worked in junior high. I was in grade 8, and there was a shoe store on 8th Avenue called Amanta Shoes. It was between Center Street and First Street West. And I used to go in there after school, and I used to stack the shoe boxes. So the salesman would obviously have all the boxes out and the shoes all over the place. And they just put them in the back, and then I'd come in after school and I'd stack the boxes back. It's been down as low as 6.
And what will a run at the Premier's job do for his golf game?
And it'll probably be 15 after I finish politics.
With editor Chris Varco, Rick Donkers, CalgaryHerald.com.
But I made my point. That to me is number one. The other thing is that the party has